What's going on, everyone? So, one of the big trades this offseason, and arguably the biggest, was Damian Lillard heading to the Milwaukee Bucks. All offseason, there was a lot of questions about Giannis. Is this going to be kind of the beginning of the end for him and the Milwaukee Bucks? Damian Lillard, all of that drama, all of that controversy going on with the Portland Trail Blazers. Looks like he's heading to the Miami Heat, and ultimately, Milwaukee Bucks pull a rabbit out of their hat and lead him to Giannis. And we've all kind of just been waiting around to see, like, what do these two look like? Now, I have my reservations for the Milwaukee Bucks and how good they're going to be. I mean, obviously, before Damian Lillard, they were going to be one of, if not the best teams in the entire league. And then you add Damian Lillard to that mix, and theory, it should make them better because Dame really solves a lot of just the issues that Milwaukee has, right? Who's that closer down that stretch? Who's that consistent go-to just bucket getter? Who's the guy that can game in and game out provide you constant scoring beyond Giannis, right? Middleton, in my opinion, is more of a 3 than he is a 2. And now they have Dame, and we're going to get the first look against Damian Lillard and Giannis against the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, obviously, Laker channel, Laker fan. Lakers are about to smack these two. But in reality, in all seriousness, this should be a fun, exciting type game, right? Lakers get the kind of first look at these two. These two haven't played yet. So I imagine it's going to be a little clunky for Milwaukee, right? It should be a little awkward maybe, just trying to navigate and figure it out. I'm also curious, how much do those two actually play? I don't think that they're going to be playing, 30 minutes or anything like that. I could see somewhere around, 15, maybe 20 minutes for both of them. So I wouldn't expect anything too crazy. But one, it'll be a lot of fun. And two, we'll kind of get to see, like, how do the Lakers sort of match up against them. Now, obviously, it's preseason. So one way or another, whether the Lakers beat them by 30 or they lose this game or whatever the outcome is, we can't get too crazy, right? But I do think that this is going to be a solid look as far as, how do we attack Damian Lillard? How do we attack Giannis? What does our starters look like, right? Does Jared Vanderbilt play this game and we throw Vando on Damian Lillard and kind of work it out that way? Do we throw Reeves on Damian Lillard and kind of see how that looks? Do we go with what we've kind of been going with the starters and then Taurean Prince and then throw Prince on Damian Lillard? Or we just kind of like, hey, let's kind of control him, contain him, same thing with Giannis through like a team defense type of scheme. I think that that's going to be very interesting because, look, it is very likely that if the Lakers make the NBA Finals, which I fully believe that they will, that they're going to face the Milwaukee Bucks. I think, in my opinion, it is Milwaukee or Boston coming out of the Eastern Conference. I just think that they're so far ahead of everyone else, unless something crazy happens, right? Obviously, injuries, things like that do happen. I think it's one of those two teams. I think that whoever comes out of the West, obviously I have my biases because I'm a Laker fan, but I also think the Lakers have a legitimate chance, and I think the Lakers are going to be, one of like 2 or 3 teams in the Western Conference that has the most likelihood of coming out the West. So it's not like, they're some play-in team or some team fighting for a play-in spot that I think is going to win. No, I think that they're going to be very good this year, and they're going to end up facing one of Boston or Milwaukee. So this is just kind of like a little sample size teaser, right? Like this is like almost like the free sample before you get a look at the actual Sunday type thing. Obviously, the Lakers will play them twice during the regular season, and that will be better looks. That'll give us, better perspective, better ideas. But still, like, how do they contain us? How do we contain them? Is Giannis and Brook Lopez, are they a problem for us, right? Do we go with 2 bigs? Do we maybe start Christian Wood and Anthony Davis? Do we go with Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis, right? Like, this is kind of the first opportunity to change the starting lineup for the Lakers also, right? Like, because you think of the teams we played. We played like the Warriors, the Nets, the Warriors again. We played the Kings. Most of those teams, their fours are small enough to where we could go with like a LeBron James or a Rui Hachimura or whomever, right? So, and you could get away with that. But now we're playing a team where you're talking, a 7-foot center and a 6'11" power forward. So you got a team with some real size down low. So do we match that this game? That's something I'm going to be very curious about to see. What does Darvin Ham look at? Do any of these starters even play? At the time of recording this, we don't have any information one way or another. Now, obviously, we'll get that information at some point, but at least at this moment of the video being recorded, we don't know. My guess is that they do play, just on the fact that, they know, we've known for several days now that Dame and Giannis are coming to play, right? So it would make sense to have these guys suit up. Let's kind of go starters with starters, right? Let's see how does our starting unit match up with their starting unit in again, a small sample size. I want to continue to see our guys shine, right? I want to see us, see how do we stack up against a very good team, right? Now, obviously, I'm not saying the Warriors or the Kings are bad teams by any stretch of the imagination, but I personally don't think that they're the Milwaukee Bucks, and our team, our starting units have pretty much controlled and won every game we've played. That doesn't mean that the Lakers have won every game, but again, there's a big difference between what was the box score and what was the actual time in which our guys play. Because what Darvin Ham's been doing is the last quarter and a half, we've been running the G League team, right? He's trying to keep everyone fresh, everyone healthy, everyone preserved. You don't want any injuries. You don't want any nonsense before the season actually begins. So I don't expect that to change this game, right? So I want to see what is going on in the time that our actual real rotation guys are playing, that our actual starting guys are playing. And this is going to be our first sort of, test against a team like that, right? We're finally going to get to see, how do we stack up? How do we match up against a team that could very well be the best team in the league this year? Milwaukee, the last few years have been, at least record-wise, one of the best teams in the entire league. And this is going to be a very interesting matchup all season, right? And now we get to see it preseason. But again, it's very possible that Dame and Giannis work from the jump, right? I mean, they could play in this preseason game and look like they've been playing for years together. We don't know, right? There's a lot of mystery that goes into what we're about to see, about what we're about to unpack here. But at the end of the day, whatever it is, I just don't want people to get too carried away, right? I don't want people thinking even if the Lakers do lose this game in the minutes in which Dame and Giannis play, that, oh, that's it, we're just not good enough to compete with them. And then same thing, even if let's say we dominate that completely, right? I don't want it to look like, well, that's it, we're clearly the best team in the league, right? Both sides are going to have a lot of work to do this season, right? Us as the Lakers, we have to continue to build chemistry. Luckily, we have a little bit of some built-in chemistry from the players that have carried over since last season. Same thing with the Bucks, right? We have to navigate and figure out what is our rotation, what are the key pieces off the bench. We've had plenty of guys look very good, right? And we have to just kind of navigate throughout the course of the season. The Milwaukee Bucks, they have a lot of work ahead of them as well. They're not as deep. They, have a lot of question marks as far as Dame and Giannis. How does that look? Is that pairing actually something that is capable of working? You got to understand, both guys are used to being the number one option. Is Dame okay with being the second option? Does Giannis take a step back and be the second option, right? Can they even work together, right? Or do those egos end up kind of clashing? I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see. So both sides do have a lot of work. right? I don't want, like I always say, don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows, especially preseason. Because preseason isn't the be all end all. And yes, it is something that can give you a good glimpse at potential possible results, right? And when you're talking preseason, there are a lot of things that translate well into the regular season. Like that's what preseason is about, right? Working on the things that you plan to use come the regular season. What are the positives? What are the things? What are the building blocks that we have that we are great at that we can continue to use as the foundation to grow? What are the things that we need to do better at and we need to work on to now work those things out throughout the course of the regular season? So now those things are now strengths come playoff time, right? And this, I think, is going to be a good test for us because you're going to have that sort of balance of just Damian Lillard's outside presence and outside threat, along with just a powerhouse interior presence. It's a rare combo for any other team in the league, right? This is going to be a very interesting sort of look and dynamic, right? Like what would be another team that would be kind of similar, right? Like most of the other teams that have other big men. They like to be out on the perimeter, right? I mean, you could say maybe like a James Harden and Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid, he likes to be out on the perimeter more than he likes to be banging inside, where Giannis is mostly just getting ahead of steam, getting downhill, trying to dominate you as an interior presence. Same thing with like a Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, guys like that. But it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for the matchup. I'm excited to get the little glimpse. And as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Are you excited to kind of get this first look? What do you think it looks like? How do you think the Lakers look against these guys? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.